Before we get to the usual stuff, a warning. Now, I've been following a certain bloke, and anyone that's asked me face to face, I've told them my opinion of him, and my opinion is he's a scam artist. And if you want to know who we're talking about here, it's Steve McRae. It now seems he's about to get someone sent to Nick because of his atrociously poor advice. I read recently that he attended a court case and started gobbing off from the public dock, and in my opinion there's only one reason you would do that, and that's to get yourself kicked out the court case. Now, of course, you might say, why get yourself kicked out the court case? Well, because if you knew that what you were telling others to do was utter crap and you were just a scam artist, you would get kicked out. So it doesn't matter what happens, and then you can say, well, I wasn't there, that's why it happened. So if you're even considering giving Steve McRae any money, you might as well send it to me. And at least then you know it'll go on some good use, whereas if you give anything to Steve McRae, all you're doing is giving money to a scam artist. You've been warned. Universal credit announcement. People in Harrogate, North Yorkshire will be the first people moved by force onto universal credit. This process, known as managed migration, will start as a pilot scheme in July 2019. Harrogate was chosen after careful consideration because of a range of factors, such as the local job centre's significant experience of universal credit. They're screwing everyone over. Sure, I injected your child and it died. It's not murder because of my white coat and personal delusions. If you don't stop lying, you'll grow up to be a BBC reporter. Speed sign in Ireland, 80 kilometres an hour. We f***ing dare ya. Mess this up, Teresa, and the poll tax riots will look like a effing tea party. Zionism is a form of racism and racial discrimination. UN General Assembly Resolution 3379, adopted in 1975. Medomsley Detention Centre scandal. 5 officers convicted of physical abuse against teenage boys. More than 1,600 victims made allegations of sexual and physical attacks by staff at County Durham facility as part of the UK's biggest ever abuse probe. Vile abusers who subjected young offenders to humiliating, violent and degrading attacks at Medomsley Detention Centre have been brought to justice. 5 former employees at the County Durham institution have been convicted of offences including misconduct in public office, grievous bodily harm and actual bodily harm for crimes committed at the Tough Correctional Facility for Boys in the 70s and 80s. More than 1,600 victims have now contacted police to say they were abused at Medomsley, and the Durham Constabulary investigation into what went on there is now thought to be the biggest historic child abuse probe the country has ever seen. And that's simply because they haven't looked into Parliament. More than 3,500 UK bankers paid $1 million a year, says EU report. Now, the reason that these bankers get paid so much money is because they know banking is an utter scam. It's no more than a Ponzi scheme, and that's why they get paid the big bucks. Until the financial system is destroyed and all the bankers end up in jail, they'll just continue paying themselves whatever they like. He's using his last bullet. Israeli Arabs condemn Netanyahu comments. He's stirring the dirt, said Gabriel Abdullah, an Arab citizen of Israel who runs a tourism company in Jerusalem, of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. That's very, very dangerous, but he will use anything. Playing his last card before he gets hopefully jailed or maybe even executed, although jail would be better, I think. Unless you think otherwise. Everyone's allowed their own opinion on it. 7-year jail terms unveiled for pension fund mismanagement. MPs and experts welcome new criminal offence to punish willful or reckless behaviour. MPs and pension experts have welcomed government plans to introduce lengthy jail sentences for executives who recklessly mismanage pension. And the key word there is recklessly, because they'll say anything. Oh no, that wasn't reckless, to keep the mates out of jail. In an effort to avoid a repeat of recent scandals like British Home Stores and Carillion. And of course, it's a government initiative, so it'll protect their friends, their Zionist scum. But pay compensation for universal credit errors, says think tank. I think that's a very good idea. Universal credit claimants should be compensated in their benefits are paid late or promised training and skills courses that are not delivered, a conservative think tank has recommended. Bright Blue said it was unfair that claimants were sanctioned, had their benefits docked if they failed to look for work or missed appointments, but job centre officials faced no penalty in their efforts for left claimants in hardships. Yeah, this is much more like it. It's called for a financial reward for claimants who put maximum effort into the job search but were unable to find work. This could be a supplement built into benefits and biannual 1,000 cash prize. And what they should be doing also is sacking the benefit ones that put them on sanctions in the first place if they've got it wrong, and a hefty fine. I think 10 times what the claimant lost would be a reasonable amount. Oh, and any bonuses they've been paid, to pay them all back in full. And you see how many times they don't sanction anyone then, when they've actually got something to lose themselves. But because they've been getting away with it, they'll carry on doing it. Where cash is king in Europe. Apparently Greece, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Germany, Ireland, and then it drops right down and we're down third from bottom. But we need to get back onto the cash road, because they can't copy you unless you, keep an eye on you, unless you use one of these loyalty card things, which are just there to keep an eye on you and see what you're buying. But cash is king, and you should all stop using your cards. You try it just for a week and just use cash. Facebook bans Zero Hedge. Facebook has blocked all Zero Hedge links, throwing up the following message. You can't go to this link from Facebook. The link that you try to visit goes against our community standards. So anyone that's pointing out what's going on usually gets banned eventually. IRA claims responsibility for recent bombs in London and Glasgow. Investigation into the device used in the explosion are ongoing, and inquiries are being sought in order to verify the claim. Right, what we're looking at here, we're not looking at the IRA, because the IRA, just like back in the 70s, was controlled by the British government to keep us in fear. And with all their latest false flags being so blatantly exposed as false flags, what they've decided to do is go back to the old way. We'll go and get our IRA guys to do it again because it worked in the 70s and 80s. Let's get it working again. That's all that's going on here. The government's false flag. Paedophile ringleader was Britain's most prolific sex offender since Jimmy Savile. An investigation institutional abuse probe sparked by the Daily Mirror, uncovered the most prolific sex predator since Jimmy Savile. Neville husband targeted around 300 vulnerable boys at Medomsley Detention Centre while working as a cook there. So they were all bleeding at it, the filthy, dirty... Well, hopefully they'll all end up in jail. Leaked emails mention aspartame causing holes in the brain. WikiLeaks has released a John Podesta email that sheds light on the artificial sweetener aspartame that is anything but sweet, besides pointing out how gravely dangerous NutraSweet, aspartame, Canderel, whatever they want to call it, is anything but NutraSweet. It is the leaked email also shows the treachery involved in getting the adulterant approved as a food ingredient, according to Wiseman Health Body. An email chain was forwarded to Podesta by Wendy Abrams, in which she writes, I also have a friend who worked for the research at University of Chicago, which has a top-rated neurology department, and the doctors there said when they gave NutraSweet to lab mice, it literally blew holes in their brains They said they will tell a pregnant woman to drink any amount of alcohol before touching a sip of NutraSweet. It is that bad. We've all known it that's done the research. But Department for Work and Pension, new assessment system could lose you 2 benefits at once. Last week, Work and Pension Secretary Amber Rudd announced that her Department was looking into combining the health assessment for certain benefits into one. However, rather than remedy anything, this would then risk sick and disabled claimants losing 2 benefits at once. Currently, benefit claimants who have a health condition or disabled face separate assessment when applying for the... Well, it's just another scam to sanction everyone. You know, again, picking on the most vulnerable and the poorest of society and the sick. This is a depopulation plan. French Masonic Lodge reportedly crashed by Yellow Vest. The wave of Yellow Vest rallies, which have been marked by clashes between protesters and law enforcement, let's just rephrase that, which has been clashes between men and women standing up because they can see they're in a dictatorship, and the dictator's enforcement arm, the police, and public disorder. Started in France in mid-November last year. Some 450 protesters reportedly gathered in Tabriz on 9th of March for the 17th straight weekend of anti-government demonstrations. On the night of 9th and 10th of March, Yellow Vest protesters raided the Grand Orient de France Masonic Lodge in French city of Tabriz. The Despêche reported posting an alleged video of the ransacked lodge. According to the report, several people wearing yellow vests and masks approached the lodge building and began to throw rocks at the facade. Later, one of the protesters allegedly climbed over a fence and opened a gate from inside. Bombshell document reveals plan for Britain to re-enter EU in 2020. Well, we're not leaving anyway, but, you know, hey-ho. A bombshell document by a group of senior MPs reveals a secret plan for Britain to re-enter the European Union in 2020. The Bruges Group was founded in 1989 after a speech by Margaret Thatcher. The group includes prominent politicians and heavy hitters such as Michael Howard, Ian Duncan Smith, Baroness Thatcher, Michael Portillo, John Redwood, Nigel Farage, Lord Tebbit, Lord Bell, Dr. Chris Shaw, Graham Leach, Martin Howe, Bill Jameson, Jens Peter Bond, Dr. John Holzman, all treasonous. Now in an absolutely explosive revelation that have just published the following onto the website. On the Monday, July 9th, 2018, several leading French, German and Dutch senior managers were called by EU officials to an urgent meeting. The meeting was said to be a private, and those present were informed that Prime Minister May and Chancellor Merkel had reached an agreement over Brexit. Knowledge of this was attained from the actual transcript of the meeting between May and Merkel. The agreement was couched in a way to appease the Brexit voters. The agreement would enable May to get rid of those people who in her party who were against progress and unity in the EU. Both Merkel and May agreed that the likely course of events would be the UK would rejoin the EU in full. Treason. The world stands disgraced. Israel's shelling of school kills at least 15. UN condemns IDF attack of sleeping children as violation of international law. Strike off crowded market in Sharjah during ceasefire kills 17. Death toll more than 1,300 after 3 weeks of fighting. And what happens? Where's the outcry? None, because they're all controlled by the Zionist Israel. Mirror. Endlessly glassed by thug. PM loses key vote again. Brexit delay. Mayhem. Don't forget they're going to rejoin in 2020 anyway. May surrenders after another massive defeat, leaving nation facing months of chaos. Not at all, because then they can bring their new world order and out the chaos. Daily fail. They vowed to deliver the Brexit Britain voted for and had it in their grasp, but last night contemptuous MPs chose instead to plunge the despairing nation into chaos. The House of Fools. Yeah, it's in the paper, so it's hardly worth printing. The Times. Driven to despair, Britain in crisis as May. We're not in crisis at all. It'd be quite simple. We just get out of EU, repeal the 72 Act, repeal all the other treasonous acts that have been signed in, and we're out. MPs vote today on no-deal Brexit. Prime Minister may face resignation calls. Boeing's grounded. Lethal air pollution. Maduro rebus thugs. Bank must do better. Aye. Out of control. Humiliating Commons defeat for Prime Minister as MPs reject her Brexit deal by 149 votes. DUP and Tory backbenchers abandon May as critical moment. Downing Street denies preparing for general election within weeks. With 16 days left until Britain's exit. Yeah, right. The exit's the EU. May's strategy lies in tatters after suffering second heavy loss. Embattled PM and allows Tories free votes tonight when MPs will decide UK should leave Europe without a deal. Warning from EU on deadline extension. So basically, it's all smoke and mirrors because, as you read earlier, they plan to rejoin it in full next year. So that would be high treason then. The Guardian, another huge defeat for May and just 16 days until non-existent Brexit. Crushing new blow as PM's authority as Commons rejects deal. Latest assurance from Brussels failed to sway the DWP. MP given free vote today on whether to reject deal because they want to keep it going on like this, because that's been the plan all along. Nothing happens by accident with these bastards, right? They've been planning this for, well, since before we voted to leave, just in case we voted to leave. And they said it was 52, 48, 59, 40, 51, 49. Bullshit, it was way higher. But they know by doing this, they can cause all this chaos, divide us against each other, those that apparently want to leave, that haven't got want to remain, that haven't got a clue what Europe is. And Europe is an utter dictatorship against those that actually want to leave, and put them against each other, divide and conquer, the same old shit they've been doing for years, and that's why they've reactivated the IRA again. Telegraph. May clings on despite a second humiliating defeat, like a dying sparrow with a Dalek croak, painful to watch. Call to give consumers control over digital data. City run riot to secure place in the last... Oh, it's football bullshit. Britain bans Boeing 737s. The scum. New Brexit shambles. Croaky horror show. PM loses voice as deal crumbles. But don't matter because it's going to go on like this because they plan to rejoin next year anyway. Oh, you voted to leave, did you? Well, we're in dictatorship, and you just get the smoke and mirrors of leaving when there's no intention for us to ever leave. Unless we take over the Houses of Parliament, lock the criminals up, and start running the country for ourselves instead of how it has been run for Zionist Jewish Israel. That's who it's run for and by. Nearly 1,000 days after the national vote, they voted to quit the EU. May suffers another defeat, which looks certain to delay Brexit and crush her hopes of 17.4 million people. Bullshit, it's been the plan all along. How much more of this can Britain take? Well, we just sack the lot of them, then send them to jail for the criminal acts. Then we put some men or women in there, if you want them in there, that actually want to do good for us and not for the Zionists, which is what's really going on here. And yes, she has already sworn her loyalty lies with Israel, just like Brown, Blair, Cameron, all the traitorous bastards before them. Waste of paper, star. Thug glasses EastEnders girl. Financial Times. May loses control of Brexit after MPs throw out revamped betrayal. Boeing reels as Europe ban follows grounding of workhorse 737 in Asia. Well, so The smoke and mirrors betrayal in Parliament continues to aid and abet them in their betrayal of the British people. They reactivated the IRA and started the false flags again. If we don't leave on the 29th, that is high treason and sedition by the government and all MPs, and we need to let them know what the penalty for that is. I love them all, but they're going to have to pay for their crimes, and I love you lot as well, so therefore I'm going to let you lot decide on what their punishment should be. In the description, just let me know what you think it should be. See you tomorrow.